You're about to see how we built and toppled over 23,000 dominoes featuring Pikachu, Charlie Brown, and more. What's up, Domino community, and welcome to the behind the scenes of BMAC 17, where we set up 23,377 dominoes with zero planning. Yeah, that's right, we totally freestyled this project, and it took 4 builders about 2.5 days to fully set up. And it was the 17th Annual Domino Toppling Extravaganza at the Brattleboro Museum Art Center. And if you weren't aware, this is actually the longest running domino event in the world. They've been doing this for 17 years in a row, and this was actually my 11th year being here. So it was just an amazing experience as always, and I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts on the build and how we put it together. So the first thing that I built was this finale structure. I thought it'd be fun to make a speed wall that kind of weaves in and out of itself. I just thought it'd be cool to build something that's really tall, and you can do that a lot faster and more stable with wooden planks. Now everything was going great with this wall, but I got about 95% of the way there, and then suddenly the entire structure fell. The entire wall. It worked, but now I have to rebuild it, so that's kind of unfortunate, but I really like the trick, so I'm gonna try to rebuild it. Hopefully it works this time. Honestly, this was a little sad because I spent over a day building this, but I really wanted to make this work. I really liked this idea for the finale, so I picked up the dominoes and I started rebuilding it. Luckily, I was able to rebuild it a lot faster the second time, and finally I could just sit and relax and not have to worry about the structure again. After that, I started building a field of Charlie Brown and the Great Pumpkin. And what's cool is that we used a floor surface that is very similar to a whiteboard, so we could actually draw on the floor with whiteboard markers, and I didn't even need to make a whole field plan. I could just draw it out and then use my template and fill in wherever I needed to put certain colors. And yeah, that was just a really cool perk of the floor. I typically don't do that, but it was super helpful. And I know in a lot of these behind the scenes videos you hear my perspective, but I also wanted to just pass the mic along to a couple of the other builders and just get their experience too. So yeah, here's Michael.
Thank you very much, Lily. What be up, Domino community? This is Stick Trick Domino Dude, and I can't believe I'm saying that I just built in BMAC for the first time. When we arrived, I wanted to make sure that I did try to build in as much of the classic BMAC style as possible. So the first thing that I started working on was a variation of a trick that I had previously attempted that didn't really work out for the final video, which was use the cylinder technique in the middle of a structure and then use templates to connect them to some cubes. My second project was building the fall walls. Now, this is one of those rare occasions where we had not one, but 2 large fall walls to work with. And so I wanted to make sure that we were building BMAC somewhere in the project. And we thought, okay, how about the fall wall? We'll make it in big text, easy peasy. It's gonna look beautiful. Every part of me that needs things to be lined up, straight, and perfect. And it's not often that you see a fall wall trick that is triggered from the middle. Now, of course, we just triggered both sides of each fall wall at the same time, but it was an effect that you don't often see, and I think that perfectly fit the BMAC style right then and there. Although I gotta give that credit to Chris, he's the one that came up with that idea. My third trick that I'm so happy I got to build was the herringbone chain with domino projects around it. Now, the herringbone chain is a classic BMAC trick that goes all the way back to the first setups with Mike Perucci. That was just something to have fun with. I ended up including slow stones, a bunch of half triangles to make another half triangle, and then using those field starters to make a diagonal thing. That was really fun. I mean, everyone knows me as Stick Trick Domino Dude, and using those sticks in the BMAC build, that was an honor to do so. One thing you may not know about the BMAC build is that it's a very time-crunched build. We only have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, with Sunday also being the topple to build the whole project. And Friday's our half day. And so we're trying to build as many dominoes as we possibly can, fill in this type of space, and it's tough. So I knew going through it, all right, if we have a big fail, then we really need to go into gear. And crazily enough, we were able to thankfully fill that space. It looked incredible. It looked like a classic BMAC style with just a little bit of extra Stick Trick Domino Dude and Flash Domino style in there. And I'm just so proud of what the final result was. I'm gonna pass off the mic to my good friend, Alex from Flash Domino. Take it away, Alex.
So I think there may have been only 2 things I built at BMAC 17 that were not some kind of domino line space filling technique. The first other project was the octo-wall 2D wall mix structure on the far left side of the build. It was my first time experimenting with this kind of structure, and the dominoes on the base layer were actually the very first dominoes to be placed for this year's build. The second other project was the collapsing elevated structures on the table. The idea was to have the domino lines fall on each of the 3 frames made of field starters and yardsticks, and have small to large sets push each of the frames over. I'm very proud of how clean the idea turned out, but unfortunately during the topple, 2 of them didn't go. When I was building this idea, I decided to place the small to large dominoes as far away from the frames as necessary so that they would fall into the frames with the most force. However, I probably should have set them closer so that they would have been able to push the frames further over. This was not an issue that came up in testing, so now I'm hoping to redeem this trick in a later build. It was still nice to try something unique, and it was cool that this kind of event gave me a chance to continue showcasing new types of domino techniques. The other thing about the event's small size is that most of the audience is already quite familiar with dominoes. At domino events and large venues, most of the audience is there for the venue, not necessarily the domino event, and so they'll stumble on the domino exhibit and ask the builders lots of basic questions like, oh, is this all one connected domino line, or have you ever knocked the whole thing over? So it's nice to have an audience that's already somewhat familiar with our craft. So overall, I'm very happy with what I built. I definitely had to hustle a little more than usual for this event, but I really enjoyed the event's atmosphere, and I think the build came together very nicely. Now I'll pass it back to Lily.
Thanks, Alex. I just wanted to thank everyone for coming to the event and to the museum for having us. It has been a blast to be able to do this for the 11th year in a row. And I'm also curious to know, have you been to a domino event before? And if so, what was your experience like? Whether you were a builder or just a spectator, I would love to hear your stories down below in the comments. And without further ado, let's enjoy the fall down.
4, 3, 2, 1, go! Here it goes, it's off! Oh, my mic is 100 person hours of work toppling before our eyes. I think it's somewhere over there. Oh, nice. This is a real tease. Oh, yeah. Back over there, but wait till that big blue. Oh, it's the house from up. Oh, up on the platform. Down off the platform. Nice. Can you all see it's in that yellow and black section on the far corner away from me? Let's go. So beautiful.
No, you're not.
all good.
They're staying on top.
We're right over here in the corner, kind of pristine now. So perfect balance. I think this might be the grand finale.
Wouldn't you agree that was a pretty awesome fall down? One last shout out to our featured community member, Aki Same. And as always, I'm Lily Hevish, and keep on building.